Yeah, of course, there can be a theory of profanation. As you suggested, when I say it is a political task, then of course it is, as you suggested, a metaphysical also task. So, of course, like when you go Heidegger. So, what is the right strategy? I try to suggest with the example what could be a strategy of profanation. It's not simple. No, it's not to kill the people to the nor because the one you suggested is a counter dispositive. So it's good. Okay, I am for, but it is a counter dispositive that you subjectivate yourself in this kind. So here, the point, the strategy would be how to free what has been captured in the dispositive and give back to man for a new use. By the way, why I think that this thing of profanation is so important to me? Because I realize that there is no way to invent a new use or a new nothing. In order to invent it, you have to profanate an existing dispositive, exactly like the children profane an existing dispositive, and from that they take and invent. There is a new dimension of use that it opens up. In that sense, it's a very important strategy, because then the strategy is in each confrontation with the dispositive, try to take back what has been captured in the dispositive and try to find a new, to open a new dimension of use.
Why is it not a new capture?
No, it's because it's a liberation from the dispositive.
Yeah, but the liberation is...
That's why if you propose another dispositive, then
the liberation, we have this, like every revolution claims to be a liberation until it turns out to be another capture. So how to make sure that after you said even the kids taking over this game, they establish a new form of capture. And the fact that they are kids does not make them innocent.
It's a use. The concept of use is very important to me. It's a very difficult concept, right. But it's a use. No? When I say what the result is a new use. So it's not the creation of a new dispositive, it's a use. How to use, for instance, how to use the mobile phone so that in some way what is captured in it is given back to free use. So I'm not able to do this. I don't have a mobile.
Maybe that's the way how to do it. To use it rarely, for example, which would that be bringing back the use by something which has become everywhere, to bring back to the moments in which it's really necessary? Would that be?
That would be too easy.
Na gut. Okay. As always, I start always with a discussion for the people who are not in this group. It's not that I occupy here the discussion, but it's my right to do that for 15 minutes. But my 15 minutes of fame are over. Now, please ask your questions. Yes. Avida, please.
Thank you very much. This is extremely rich and thought-provoking. I just have a nano question, precisely moving from the Gestalt, let's say. And I was wondering if, and maybe I misunderstood, there isn't too much exteriority to the to a certain essential moment of the grid or dispositive that you're describing. In other words, you just said, for example, the confrontation with it, as if there weren't uncontrollable mergers, contaminations, and precisely contagions, I mean, I have a sense that Heidegger goes in that kind of aberrant way as well sometimes when he says there are things and there's the being, as when you suggested in your genealogical primer that there's the living substance or the living being and then the dispositor and so on. So what guarantees, let's say, provisionally, the purity of keeping them apart and not a really almost violent contamination, so that, or incorporation, do you understand what I'm saying? So that there wouldn't be even a way to know, to separate the cell phone from the cellular structure of anything that calls out and is structured in terms of transmission and receptors, because it seems as though there's still too secure a boundary between what might be, to say very quickly now, outside or inside.
Yeah, right, but I said that there is a third, which is precisely the subject. So the subject is the living being who get, I said captured, but we can use every
Okay.
who is taken in the dispositive. So there is only contamination in a way. So the big category was a structural big category, ontologia, oikonomia, but then the reality is subjectivities who are continuously taken and fighting or not fighting, so I'm not exaggerating the conflict or whatever, but there is, the subjectivity is precisely what result from the, not the division, but the contamination of the two.
But that still has a kind of stature or status of an entity that's perhaps opposable or not even. I understand that there might be a non-reciprocity, but it could it be switched in a way that one couldn't even, do you understand what I...
By the way, if you want to enter, to please Wolfgang, in more technical and ontological thing, then I would say like that. Also in philosophy there is a dispositive, an ontological dispositor, and this is the ontological difference. So being gets divided from itself and becomes all this opposition of being and aim and on and ends and esse being. So the ontological difference Heidegger was so busy with was perhaps his struggle with the biggest philosophical dispositor, the ontological difference. And theoretically we have to cope with this, to see how it was created. I'm trying to do a genealogy of the ontological difference in that context and see how it was created, what is at stake in the creation of this opposition, why to divide being from itself.
Yes, but as you said, it was for Heidegger a struggle. He was not trying to establish this or to overcome it. Yeah. So in some way, he had the same interests that you have, and in the language of history, we call it the ontological ethics. You made the point there is no possibility to reconcile those. It is true, as long as you do not see that it's an overcoming of both, that the ontological ethics can only work if it is done in practices and not as ontology or ethics in itself. That's true. And in this respect, the evolution thing, it's a question from which perspective you are looking. From the perspective of ontology, or God, or the economy, it looks like a pollution. It's not a pure thing. This subjectivity has to be polluted. But it is not polluted, so not on the way to be liberated. That I would answer him, but please do it yourself.